Good morning, everybody. So we're out here today at the beautiful Greer's Ferry Lake. It's pretty early in the morning, and I want to talk to you guys about the Yume company and the Yume scooter. Why I picked this scooter, and what my thought process was to picking a scooter. Because I know a lot of you guys have got questions because there's so many scooters out there. How do you pick one? Well, I think the first thing you do is sit down and figure out what your budget is for real, and then figure your budget probably as high as you can, because sky's the limit when you buy one of these things. I think anytime you buy any of the hyper scooters, I think you're going to be okay. The reason why I chose Yume as a company, I just did research with Yume. I didn't find anything really bad with the company at all. And what I've noticed is through their process of building the scooters, when there are maybe complaints or suggestions or things that they notice that are not correct in production, they're fixing them along the way. So to me, that's a good sign of a company who wants to build a product that's for the people. So that was one of the reasons why I decided the Yume company. The reason why I picked the Yume Y11 primarily is the front end. I rode motorcycles for almost 30 years. I recognize this front end. I trust this front end, and I just don't think you could go wrong with it. I like the way it looks better. I like the other ones too, but I'm just more partial to this one. I have heard that the seat type, front ends ride a little bit better. And to be honest with you, when you get your Y11, which is what this one is, it's a little rough when you get it out of the box, but the tires are aired up to the maximum, 50 psi when you get the scooter. I've reduced my tires down to 40, which is completely smoothed out the ride. So now I'm gonna come back up with it a pound or two until the ride quality starts deteriorating, and then I'm gonna go back down a pound. And that's probably where I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna be a real aggressive driver. I'm not worried about spinning the tubes in and all that kind of stuff. So it's not a big concern of mine. And so far, the 40 pounds is great. But like I said, I do want to have as much in there as I can have. When I got my Y11 just a couple days ago, I didn't have any issues with it at all. I did take the deck off. I'm going to release a video a little bit later on. We're going to go through the wiring and some of the things that you can do as a scooter owner yourself, and some of the things you need to get familiar with the scooter, as far as checking connectors, wirings, pinouts, and a few of the wire connectors need to have some heat shrink on them. We're going to go through that. Some models are going to be different than others, but we got a couple other scooters out here at the lake this weekend. Hopefully we can get some of those guys in on some videos, and maybe we can do some riding around and things like that, and let you see. We got another Y11 and X13. So the other reason why I picked this scooter is price. There's a lot of scooters out there. I mean, you can go up to $10,000 if you want to. This was the one that was in my budget, and I think it's the best bang for the buck. If that's what you're looking for, if you're wanting a scooter that'll do what you want to do, this thing's got plenty of power. I mean, you're going to try to figure out how to turn the power down when you get this thing. It is a little bit insane. It's not dangerous, but I mean, if you have the power turned all the way up and you're on dual motors, this thing can easily pull the front wheel off the ground, even going 10 miles an hour when you go to the floor. It's trying to, it's not going to flip over on you, but you can feel the front tire spinning loose. I'm going to move a little bit because the sun's getting in my eyes. So the other thing that I like about the Yume scooter is I don't take anything to the shop. I work on everything myself. I just don't trust people to work on my things, and I don't like to send things off to work on or to have them worked on. So when I bought this one, I bought it with the full intent that I was going to be the one doing the repairs on it. If it needed some wiring redone or some new components, I was going to be the one doing it. This one to me was the easiest, in my opinion, to work on, or this style of scooter. So with that type of deck, with these type of forks, I know if I bend these forks, I can have them straightened as long as they're not kinked, and they'll be fine. I've had motorcycles before where I bent the forks and had them straightened and used them until I sold the motorcycle with no issues. Also, I like to fabricate a lot of stuff. I'm not saying I would fabricate anything on the scooter, but I would not be scared to fabricate it. Just because the way the design is, it just invites that. If that's what you want to do, if you're into, if you don't want to buy a seat, but you want to fabricate a real cool seat, or if you want to build a acrylic deck, or whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. You can do it on these. Now, if you're one of these guys that don't like to work on things and don't understand the components in the scooter, I see this a lot on Facebook and on YouTube, where people buy these scooters and they have an issue with it, and then they don't know how to fix it, and they're trying to deal with the manufacturer, and the manufacturer's trying to help them through it, but you either understand it or you don't. So for you guys out there that don't or not interested in working on these scooters, if you'll go to your local radio control club, most towns have those pretty close by. All the components that are in this scooter, they will understand. These guys that build these racing drones and FPV drones, and they fly these airplanes, they can diagnose these scooters relatively easy. I fly those, I build those, and when I look into this, the components are bigger, but it's the same. You got a throttle control of a sort, you got speed controllers for the motors, and you got batteries and stuff. This is all plug and play, so when you get your scooter, everything should work, but keep in mind it is plug and play. And not every component's made by Yumi or whoever you buy your scooter from, and things just get overlooked. And right now production is just insane. It would be like us going into work tomorrow and they saying, hey, we're going to double production, today. And then you go in next week and they say, oh, by the way, we got to double it again. If any of us was faced with that, there would be issues. So I think when there are issues with the scooter, Yumi's taking care of them pretty fast. So be patient with them and reach out to your local RC club. We've got 3 of them here that we got in. One of them came in last week. 2 of them come in a few days ago. We've had 0 issues with them out of the box. Now, we did go through there and we checked the plugs and all that stuff. And I think on the X13 we had one plug that was not plugged in correctly. It wasn't incorrectly plugged in, it just wasn't plugged in all the way. And it was when we got the scooter, rode it a little bit, and then it messed up. And we found it. And that's one of the ones that we need to put heat shrink on. So and we're going to do a video on that. Anyway, like I said, I don't think you're going to go wrong no matter which hyper scooter you pick. Once you get up to this level of scooter, it's not like the little $400 scooters you get at Walmart. There's nothing wrong with those. We rode those things out here to death till there's no tires on them, and that's how we ended up with these, because we wanted to go a little bit further, and then we want to travel a little bit, go do some sightseeing, and maybe go to some historical towns and things like that. Take the camper and just take the scooters and go for a ride. Anyway, no matter what you decide or who you decide to buy from, or what scooter you pick, you're not too old to get one of these. You're going to start seeing. I'll be 55 this month, and I'm not ready to stop living. I had a real bad motorcycle wreck a few years back, so I wasn't really willing to get back on motorcycles again. I'm not scared of them, but traffic out on the main highways is pretty dangerous at times. So the town that I live in, we have a lot of bike lanes. We have a lot of bike trails that just cut through town. You can almost go anywhere in town through these trails. So I have a lot of options for riding this. And this gives me a little bit of that freedom feel that I had when I rode motorcycles all the time. And that's what happened to my hand, if you see that in camera. Motorcycle wreck is what happened to that. These controllers on these Yumis, you may have to be careful with this. They stick a little bit every once in a while. I think once it gets broken, you probably won't have that problem anymore. Mine's already getting better, but and when I say stick, it just barely, and it's not at a high speed, it's at like an idling speed. So all you do is just push your finger. But one of the things I did when I got the scooter, the controller and everything was slid all the way out to the grip. I didn't like that because it puts the trigger in front of the brake. So what I did is I slid that over so that if you do have a panic braking, you don't grab the throttle too. And I think if you'll do that, you'll probably enjoy it a lot more. You just have a lot more room once you do that, and you can get to the USB port that's underneath here if you want to charge your phone or whatever. Anyway, I don't have anything else really today. We're going to do that video where it tears thing apart. You're going to have to adjust the headlights, and you're going to have to do stuff like I'm telling you right now to check every nut and every bolt when you get your scooter. There's some bolts right here for this upright. You can see my hand right there. Those were tight when we got the scooter, but there was a little bit of flex in the scooter. So just by tightening those up a little bit more, it stopped that flex. The deck screws were a little bit loose, nothing major. All your controls need to be tightened, so you're going to adjust those where you want them. I think they leave them like that on purpose, so to kind of encourage you to put them where you want them. When you get them, leave them on eco mode and leave them on single motor for a good bit. 1, 2, and 3 speeds. Really just adjust your top end speeds, not really so much your power. Your eco and your single motor, dual motor does adjust your power. So if you got your yellow button in and your red button out, you'll be in single motor, and that's pretty tolerable. You can ride it around pretty smooth, no big deal. You get it up to 15-20 miles an hour. If you want to do dual motor at that point, by all means, have fun, because you will. Other than that, one other thing I'll tell you to do is when you get your scooter, deflate your tires. Deflate them all the way down and then air them back up. It's not a lot of fun because these got tubes in them, and when you go to air them back up, the stem's going to try to push inside. But from my experience over the years, not just with scooters, anytime you're dealing with tubes, when they get tucked into a tire, if they get folded, they will still air up and you can still ride, but it will damage that tube. So a trick that we used to do is we would air them up. We would take the valve cores out. You don't have to do that, but it's easier if you do that. We take the valve cores out. You can get a valve core tool. Air the tire up and just let it all go back out. Do that 2 or 3 times and then air it up to the pressure that you want, and you probably won't have no trouble out of that. But if you don't do that, this one, when I got this scooter, I could tell one of the tires was a little bouncy. I don't know that that's what it was, but that's what I felt it was. So because it wouldn't have as much support in one spot as what would happen. So I deflated the tires and made them up a few times, and everything went perfect after that. Anyway, I don't have anything else. I hope you guys get you a scooter. I really like the Yume company. I've watched some interviews with them and stuff, and I just really think they're trying to build a great product. There's going to be people that say, well, yeah, but they don't build the best scooter or whatever. There's going to be people that say they build the baddest scooter in the world. Any of these companies can build the baddest scooter in the world. I mean, essentially they can. You could if you wanted to. You could go buy all these components, and you could go buy the most expensive electronics, and you could buy the most expensive motors and the most expensive tires and the most expensive of everything that you could get, and you could put one of these together and you could have the most expensive scooter that you built. Anybody can do that. But I think Yumi's target, or I feel like their target, is giving guys a scooter that is everything you want it to be, and then some, without it being, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. These were $1,600, a little over $1,600. I think they're on sale right now, maybe $100 off or something. I can't remember. But they do have some financing available. Affirm does financing for these. Affirm financing terms on those is very simple, very easy. A lot of times you can buy something like this simply by just changing a habit, like stop smoking and buy a scooter. I encourage you to do. I bought a boat like that one time. Anyway, we're going to be at the lake this weekend. We're going to do some more scooter riding. We're going to do some boating. I'm going to try to get some videos up on boat. Get on Yume's website, go through some of those scooters, see what you think. Check some of the other scooters. I mean, it really doesn't matter which one you buy, in my opinion. I've looked at all of them. I think they're all great. Yume was just the one for me. And me and my friends, we collaborated about it, and they kind of felt like it was the one for them too. So we're all buying Yume's got 5 of them. We got 3 now. 2 more are coming in next week. They're not as easy to get right now. Some scooters are harder to get than others. If you have to wait 4 or 5 weeks, just be patient. It's not easy, but the longer you wait to order, the longer you wait to get it. It's just that simple, because production's just constantly increasing from what I can see. So if you do want one, you know, figure out what your budget's going to be, figure out what you can afford, go ahead and get it ordered. You're not going to regret it. If you like to get outdoors, if you like to do something a little bit different, like sometimes I'll hop on mine, just run down to the bank, and I can get there and back faster than I can go out and get my vehicle and go and drive, you know, because I can cut through all the neighborhoods and the bike trails and whatever. And then my vehicle's kind of large, so I can't pull it out to the ATM. So with this, I can pull it out to the ATM. I cook at the house most times, but sometimes I'll just run uptown and get something to eat, and I can do it quicker on the scooter, and it's more fun. And it gets you out, of the house, off the couch, away from the TV, and just, you know, maybe meeting up with some other friends that have scooters too. I mean, we're going to do some rides in Little Rock and things like that on Sundays when it's not as busy. But we do plan on getting out and having a good time with the scooters. So, like to see you guys do it too. Y'all have a good weekend.